Good morning, saints. Once again, I greet you in the name of the Lord. This morning, I've got some few quotes which I would like to read so that we share together. I'm going to read from the message "God Keeps His Word," which was preached in 1957, April the 7th. I believe that this existing generation is on the earth right now that will see the coming of the Lord Jesus. I am 48. I may not see it. I don't know. It may come tomorrow. But I believe that there is some here that will see the coming of the Just One, the ending of the time. And I believe that most of us, especially that's in this church this morning, will never die with old age until we see one of the most horriblest things happen that's ever happened to people. That's going to happen right here in this nation. It is the truth. End quote. I just want to say that this quote, which was preached in 1957, these one of the many quotes which many people have stumbled on. People have stumbled and because of not waiting patiently on the Lord, as it even leads many people to leave the message. And I don't blame the people that have left the message. But I should be open to say, really, me, I believe the so-called fivefold ministry in our message churches, the so-called fivefold ministry. Why I say I blame the so-called five ministry, the ministers and the pastors in this message, is because many times I wonder if the people really, the pastors, the ministers, majority of us, whether truly we have met the pillar of fire according to what the prophet said. The prophet William Aaron Branham said, if you have not met the pillar of fire, you've got no right to go into the pulpit. Because what happens is, if somebody has not met this same pillar of fire which the prophet met. Remember, in the Old Testament, we are taught by the Bible and we are taught by the prophet William Branham that it was death to draw near this pillar of fire or to enter it. Only Moses can go into it. But today in the New Testament, it's the opposite way. It is death to stay outside it. You have to go into it if you are going to have life. So the prophet says, you are not to enter the pulpit without meeting this pillar of fire. Now, what has happened is, you are not to enter the pulpit. What has happened is, many people, by education, by good standing in the society in terms of finances, they've been promoted into the pulpit. And because of that, these people, what they bring from the pulpit to the people has really done more damage to the people that came to the message than good. I can actually, I must confess and say that I am usually on YouTube, and I actually listen and watch all the videos of most of the videos of the saints that have left this message. What I hear speaking or what they say, I cannot blame them. I can't blame the people that have left the message. And I would not, if I would meet any of them, I wouldn't say, no sister, no brother, just go back to your pastor, just go back to your church. Because really, that's where the problem came from. That's where the problem came from. Now, it's like we have to begin again to witness this message. To point the people to Christ, not to the church, not to the pastor. Because people were appointed to the church and to the pastor. And when they got there, after staying among them, they discovered what these people were testifying is not so with them. And it stumbles them. It stumbles them. I've just been watching with Beulah Mashengo, Sister Beulah Mashengo, which has left the Message Church, which was born in the Message. And I listened to everything what she was saying. And I could see that the sister appears to be a sincere person. And what she was saying is true experiences she went through. True experiences she went through. I feel pity for the poor sister. Until the sister clearly now says, I thought it was the people. Now in the end, I started searching about the very ministry. Now, I just read a quote here. It's a classic example of what has stumbled people, because the pastors in this message, I have been in this message for more than 25 years, probably now 27 years. I know there is people who are 50, 40, 60 years in this message. It doesn't matter. The years do not matter in this message. What matters is the revelation, is the understanding, is the eyes, your spiritual eyes. Are they being opened to what the message is, or the real program for this message? Because many people have been stumbled. Many people have said, no, this was said to happen and it never happened. And those who are still claiming to be custodians of the message, when they are confronted with these questions, they try to run away from the questions when they are supposed to state exactly what the message is saying. So most of them, they even know that what we are saying is not what the prophet said, but they still maintain to be the leaders of this message. They don't want people to see them as heretics. What do I mean? If you were in the first church age, when the church started under the ministry of the Lord Jesus Christ, the people that believed Jesus were blinded heretics, crazy people, mad people, and they ended up being killed for what they believed, because what they believed was totally, absolutely different from the traditional beliefs of the churches of that day. But that was the birth of Christianity. That was the birth of Christianity. And what people do not understand and do not want to come out in the open in this day is, this message is the birth of the bride of Christ. I'm talking about the bride. I'm not talking about the church ages where churches were being espoused to Christ. But I'm talking about a married woman, the married church, which is supposed to know its husband. Its husband. Now the problem is, we have people who claims to be members of the bride of the called out church of this day, but they are preaching the second Exodus. And now if you've got some people who are serious, if you have some people who are serious in your church, they'll get confused, because they'll see that you are preaching the second Exodus, but you are using the third Exodus to keep them. You are afraid to dive deep and just declare exactly what this really means, this third Exodus. Anyway, let me shed some light on this quote so that you might maybe probably comprehend what I'm trying to say here. According to the quote which I've just read, I believe that this existing generation is on earth right now that will see the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. This is in 1957. Brother Branham said, according to this quote, he believes that the generation that he was living in, the existing generation, was the one that was going to see the coming of the Lord. Now, you and me, we know that we are beyond that generation. In fact, we are going to the third generation. And it's a question to some believers, even those that are still in the message. You know, these that have gone out, they are just coming out in the open. They are not hypocrites. Some believers might say, but the Lord did not come. And then their pastors The so-called message pastor, they'll say, yes, we are still waiting for the coming of the Lord. Because they are afraid to just come out in the open to exactly what the prophet declared in this message. They have mixed the revelation of William Marion Branham, which he brought to us, with what they knew when they were still in the denominations. It's either you remain in the denomination and hold on to what you knew before you came to the message, or you fully embrace that which William Branham has brought, no matter what people say about you. It's better the people in the message clearly understands what you believe, what they believe, so that even if they are scorned, even if they are laughed at, they know why they are suffering for what they believe. Not that people suffer for what they don't understand. This is why in the end they come out. Like our sister Mashego there, Beulah Mashego. I have nothing against that sister. I feel pity about that sister. And I can say that God will have his own way with our sister. It's not only her. Many of them have come across them. My only prayer is that you people who have left the message, if truly you love God, if it is truly God whom you love, just save the God which you believe you love. Don't come after the prophet. It's not the prophet that caused you to be in this state. It's not the message itself that caused you to be to end up making those decisions. It is the pastors and the peoples you met in this message, their attitude towards one another, from the experiences that I'm getting when I watch these videos. Now, look, the prophet is saying it is this generation that he believes the Lord Jesus Christ was going to come. I'm 48 years. I may not see it. I don't know. It may come tomorrow. It may come tomorrow. But I believe that the coming of the... But I believe that there is some here that will see the coming of the just one, the ending of time. And then the prophet says, I believe there's people present in the tabernacle in 1957 who will see the coming of the just one, the ending of the age. You see, if we only understood what he taught about first Exodus, and then second Exodus, and then third Exodus, this court would make sense to us. But if we just follow and just read the Bible and don't consider exactly what has transpired, what this message is about, then we'll never be able to understand this. It only took 40 years when Moses came to take the people across into the promised land. Again, it only took 40 years when Jesus was born for the people to cross again into the promise of their day. And I'm telling you that at the time the prophet preached this, within the 40 years that he preached this, the church went across into the promise of this day. Now, that's where the problem is. But people don't understand what the coming of the Lord is. People have drifted back to what it was in the denominations. He is coming soon. He is coming soon. We are waiting for him. Trim yourselves. Trim yourselves. If you say trim yourselves, you forget that from the time we believed this message, it was trim yourself, trim yourself. From the time of Brother Branham, it was trim yourself, trim yourself. And you are all dying and being married. All dying and being buried. All dying and being buried. Trim yourselves, trim yourselves. Are you saying this God is a God with no plan? Are you saying it's a forever thing, that it will be just like this? No, God has got a program. I think I'm going to end so that my clip does not become too big to follow. I will follow on this thought. God bless you, saints. I bless you, all of you, in the name of the Lord.